Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Fine. Welcome to our Deeper Dive webinar for the Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey. This presentation has been adapted from Girl Scouts of the USA's webinar that was delivered in early August of 2017, and it was originally presented by Suzanne Harper, the STEM curriculum specialist from Girl Scouts of the USA, and Sharon Karasik, and the Girl Scout project director at SciStarter. So just to let you know, my name is Emily Fine, and I am the Director of Program here at Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio. If you have any questions after watching this module, you can feel free to send me an email at efein@gsneo.org. So here's a quick look at what we're going to be talking about today. First, we'll talk about what a citizen scientist is and what girls will learn from doing citizen science. Next, I'll go through the new STEM journey structure and the specific activities that girls will do on the journey. And I'll also show you where you can find the resources for the journey on the volunteer toolkit, also known as the VTK. Then we'll take a look at the SciStarter site. SciStarter has created a customized section of their website that's just for Girl Scout volunteers and girls. So by the end of this training, you'll understand how the new STEM journeys are structured and what the content is, what a citizen scientist is, how to use SciStarter, and how to facilitate the Think Like a Citizen Science journey. So let's get started. What is citizen science and what will girls learn when they do a citizen science project? Citizen science is a way for everyday people to help scientists do research. When scientists need a lot of data, they can ask for the public's help. And people can sign up to collect data by doing activities such as taking photos of clouds or streams, documenting the change in nature, or even counting visible stars to help scientists learn about light pollution. And then they send the scientist their data. The scientist actually analyzes the information and uses it to better understand our world. So what will girls learn in this journey? They'll learn how scientists study the world to learn new things. They'll learn how their citizen science projects help real scientists answer important questions. And they'll learn that anyone can participate in science and have fun while they're doing it. So let's take a look at the new STEM journey structure and what girls will do on the journey. First, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the new journey structure. Girl Scouts of the USA had a lot of suggestions from volunteers about how the journeys could be made simpler and easier to use. They did extensive testing of the new structure to see if the volunteers found it easier. And the first version was created last summer and tested with a committee of council staff and some volunteers. And GSUSA got a lot of great feedback. Based on that feedback, they created version 2. And version 2 was tested with 94 troops and over 1,000 girls. And again, they got more feedback about how to make it even simpler. And the feedback that helped revise the journeys the third time resulted in the structure that we're about to show you. Just a quick note that the outdoor journey has a different structure because it's badge-based. For the outdoor journey, girls do 3 outdoor badges and a take action project. But just to keep it simple, a journey is when girls learn about a topic that they're interested in and do a take action to make the world a better place. So at the very base, a journey is learning something new and taking action on the information that you just learned. I'll give you a second to take a look at the graph. Here are a few things to note. The original journeys had 12 to 15 meetings. Now we have 6. We had a lot of activity options in the original journeys, and we certainly heard from volunteers who liked having the choice, but many more said it was confusing. In addition, there was feedback that there was never enough time in troop meetings to use the meeting plans as they were written. So everything has been trimmed down, and they've tested these designs to make sure that they work. Now, as you can see, every meeting has 4 activity slots. The first 3 meetings focus on the STEM content. There's an As Girls Arrive activity that ties to the STEM theme, an opening ceremony where girls pledge the flag, recite the promise and law, conduct troop business, and are introduced to the STEM activity. Then they do the STEM activity, followed by a closing ceremony. Each STEM activity takes 45 minutes or 30 minutes for daisies. The next 2 meetings have the same structure, but they're focused on the Girls Take Action project. And finally, there's a celebration meeting. These meetings are designed for the troop meeting model, since that's the most common way that girls in grades kindergarten through 5th grade get together. However, it's a modular structure, so you can customize the way you want to deliver it. For example, the 3 STEM meetings could be done in a day-long workshop or as part of a day camp. Some troops might want to have a meeting to celebrate their achievement and have an award ceremony. Others may want to use one of their meetings to celebrate the many things that they've accomplished. What's most important is making sure that the girls learn about citizen science, do a take action project, and have fun. So let's take a deeper dive into the actual activities. For daisies, in the first meeting, daisies are introduced to citizen science. They learn why it's important for scientists to observe the world closely, and they develop their own observation skills through hands-on activities. As they arrive, they play I Spy, and the STEM activity for the first meeting is to role-play an animal. How would they see the world differently? In the second meeting, daisies learn to collect and analyze data. And while it sounds pretty advanced for daisies, it's really a fun activity. As the girls arrive, they'll create a field notebook. And then for the STEM activity, they'll make butterfly field notes. You'll find handouts in the program materials, and they have illustrations of 2 kinds of butterflies with different patterns. You post the illustrations around the room. Girls collect data, meaning that they count the butterflies and how many different patterns they can spot. As part of meetings 1 and 2, you'll also introduce the girls to the citizen science project found on the SciStarter page. In the second meeting, girls will choose the project that they want to do. In the third meeting, daisies actually do the citizen science project they just chose. A couple of notes about these activities. The citizen science project is done outdoors, but any of these activities can be done outside if you want. There are talking points in all of the meeting plans, and girls will learn about what take action is and start to talk about the kind of project that they want to do during the opening or closing ceremonies. It prepares them to decide on the take action project. Let's take a look at the Brownie activities. In the first meeting, Brownies sharpen their observation skills through hands-on activities. They learn how scientists use observation to understand the world. As girls arrive, they'll make quick changes, changing their clothing, their hair, taking off their glasses or an earring, to see if they've noticed a change in their friend. The STEM activity is an old Girl Scout game called Kim's Tray, where girls look at a variety of objects on a tray and try to notice what's been added or taken away and try to remember everything that's there. In the second meeting, as girls arrive, they'll create a field notebook. And for their STEM activity, similar to the butterfly activity that the daisies did but aged up a bit, there are illustrations of snails with different and more complex patterns. Not only do Brownies count them and take notes on how many types of snails there are, but they also create a map of where the snails are found as a way to present their data. Just to be clear, if you post the snail pictures around a meeting room, Brownies will make a simple map of the room and plot where they found the snails. As part of meetings 1 and 2, you'll also be introducing girls to the citizen science projects found on the SciStarter accounts. In the second meeting, girls will choose the project they want to do. In the third meeting, Brownies complete their citizen science project and choose their take action project. These activities are also used in the multi-level Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey, with tips and notes to volunteers on how to age up or age down the activities to fit their girls' age and experience level. I think you can see how these activities match up across the grade levels when we go to our next slide, which shows the junior activities. In the first meeting, as girls arrive, they'll do an activity called Sensing in Nature, which is making observations about natural objects. And it's a warm-up activity to learn about observing. The STEM activity, Kim's Tray, girls describe their observations. So how can you describe different seashells with enough detail that your partner can guess which item you chose? And they'll make scientific observations about the room. In the second meeting, as girls arrive, they'll create a field notebook. In the STEM activity, juniors take field notes about animal tracks and learn about collecting and analyzing data over time. Again, similar to what the daisies and the brownies are doing, but instead of collecting data on butterflies and snails, juniors are looking at different animal tracks and plotting them on a map. There's an added level to the activity that teaches girls how to plot and graph data that changes over time. As part of meetings 1 and 2, you'll also introduce girls to the citizen science projects found on the SciStarter site. In the second meeting, girls will choose the project they want to do. In the third meeting, they'll actually complete the citizen science project. I mentioned earlier that Girl Scouts of the USA tested the journey structure in the fall as part of an engineering pilot. They also tested the Think Like a Scientist journey with volunteers and girls and revised them based on their suggestions. So I wanted to next share some of the overall comments from volunteers. So we were really happy with a lot of these comments. Volunteers said things, there wasn't a lot of extra planning or work needed, and that girls could see that they can contribute to science even though they're just kids. And it wasn't like anything they've ever done before. People saw how citizen science tied to the Girl Scout values. And the last quote, which just says that the girls love the idea that they can truly make a difference in the world through the field of science. When you look at the new STEM outcomes that Girl Scouts of the USA has developed, you'll see that we want girls to benefit in 4 ways. First, we want them to increase their interest in STEM. We also want them to increase their confidence that they have in what it takes to do STEM. We want them to increase their competence in STEM, meaning that girls will have more knowledge about STEM and develop STEM skills. And finally, we want girls to increase their understanding that STEM is of value to society, that scientists help people, scientists help animals, and scientists help the planet. The volunteers who were gracious enough to test this program delivered on every one of those outcomes. So again, thanks to them. So how do you teach citizen science? This information is actually in the meeting plans on the volunteer toolkit. So we want to remind you to use the talking points, but be sure to make them your own. Some of the volunteers find it helpful to follow the script. Others deliver the information in their own words. Either way is just fine. Be prepared, because it's what Girl Scouts do. Each meeting includes a prepare ahead section that includes a materials list and the kind of setup that's required. Read it in advance so you'll have enough time to gather supplies and enlist help if needed. Use the Girl Scouts 3 processes. Learning by doing, cooperative learning, and learning together are built into this journey. Thanks to the hands-on activities and tips, you'll also find specific Keep It Girl-led tips in the meeting plan to help you create a girl-led experience. Observe, record data, analyze data. Girls will do hands-on activities to learn about the scientific method. They'll learn how to observe closely, record their observations, and analyze what they've learned. They'll then put what they learned into practice by doing a citizen science project. When they send in the data they collected, girls are doing something very important. Their data will help real-life scientists do real-life research. They'll join thousands, even millions of other people who also did the project and sent in their data. That's how science works, gathering millions of pieces of information and figuring out how it all fits together. And it all starts with observing, recording, and analyzing data. Make sure you leave time for the closing ceremony. If the girls are having fun, you might be tempted to skip the closing ceremony so they can just keep going. But the closing ceremony is absolutely key to their learning. And here's why. When girls leave the meeting, they'll remember how much fun they had, but they might not realize that they just learned how engineers solve problems or that they're good at science unless you tell them. The closing ceremony is where you can connect the dots for girls by pointing out how they acted as citizen scientists, how much fun they had solving problems with science, and that they have what it takes to continue exploring STEM. Tell your troop story. As a Girl Scout leader, you're designing experiences that girls will remember their whole lives. Try to capture those memories with photos or videos. Girls love remembering everything they did, and it's a great way for parents to see the benefits of Girl Scouting too. Please help us tell the Girl Scout STEM story by sharing your photos and videos with us. You can even email them to STEM, S-T-E-M, at girlscouts.org with the photo releases, and GSUSA will use them too. Program pairing. When possible, we've listed badges that will pair well with each journey. So here are some suggested pairings for Think Like an Engineer. The Daisy Clover Petals, the Brownie Bugs Hiker and Outdoor Adventure badges, the Junior Camper Animal Habitats and Flower badges, and if you have other ideas that work well, just let us know. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the volunteer toolkit. This is just a real quick high-level tour of the program materials and where they're located on the VTK. So on the left side of the screen, you'll see a list of all the materials that have been created to help support this journey. On the right, you'll see a screenshot that shows where they are located. There are detailed activity plans for each meeting, checklists, facilitation tips, handouts that go with each meeting, a glossary, a take action guide, and a materials list. both a list for each meeting and a list of all the materials you need for all 6 meetings in case you're a planner and you pull them ahead together all at once, are listed in the VTK. This is why the VTK is a useful tool. If you go here, you'll know that you have all of the resources that you need. The activity plans are great for step-by-step instructions, but some of the handouts you need are actually in the meeting aids section. So let's take a quick look at this meeting aids section for this journey. You can see that you have some standard handouts, like a promise and a law handout, which is especially useful for new volunteers. And you'll have a glossary and a materials list. See the document called Brainstorming Tips, Think, Pair, and Share? It's a great handout with facilitation tips that Audrey Quick and Jesse Mostapak from Northeast Texas created. And pay attention to that Take Action Guide. This is something we've heard loud and clear from volunteers. Help me understand the difference between community service and take action and what it means to make a project sustainable. Give some examples of take action projects. My girls want to come up with their own project, but they need help getting started. And you'll get all of that in the Take Action Guide, so check it out. And finally, notice the meeting aids. These handouts used in meeting 2 of the Brownie Journey. You'll need them to facilitate the meeting. So you see the snail cutouts, the cardinal direction signs, and the snail activity map. All you have to do is print those out and you're ready to do the activity. At Girl Scouts, they're taking feedback really seriously. The journeys have been tested and revised to address feedback from girls and volunteers. New meeting aids were developed based on volunteer requests. If the developers hear that there's a need for a new meeting aid, they can create it and add it to the VTK. That's another reason to use this online tool. We're able to make changes in real time. So here's another way GSUSA is asking for feedback from girls and volunteers. At the end of each program, there's a link to a survey for girls and a survey for volunteers. The survey helps us measure how well the program is working. If the girls are bored or not, if they're achieving the intended outcomes, that means that we have work to do. We need to revise the program. We know what it takes, that it takes time for girls to fill out the survey, and it can be challenging to get a room full of girls to do this. But if you can, we'd greatly appreciate it because it will help us improve the program, which will benefit the movement and most importantly, benefit the girls. We'd also like you to complete the volunteer survey, which you can find at the end of the meeting activity plan for meeting 6. By using the VTK, you can reach GSUSA directly and make your voice heard. Okay, so I've given you several reasons why to use the VTK, but we know not everyone can access an online site. So there are PDFs of all the program materials. You can contact us, our customer care, and we'd be happy to send them to you. But please know that they are hundreds of pages long, and I think what's so great about the VTK is that you're going to get the meeting aids that you need for the meeting that you're currently working on. So it's really designed to be used on the volunteer toolkit. Okay, so now it's time to learn a little bit more about SciStarter and the site that you and your girls will be using to do a citizen scientist project. I'm thrilled about the partnership. SciStarter has almost 1,500 citizen science projects to choose from, and the site is designed for both children and their adults, whether they're parents or Girl Scout volunteers. So as you'll see, SciStarter created a special section of the site, especially for Girl Scouts. And GSUSA worked closely with them to choose a handful of projects that were best suited for Girl Scouts in terms of the length of the process and the equipment that is required. They even made sure that there were projects that could be done in any season, keeping in mind that here in Northeast Ohio, we can have 70-degree days in February or a blizzard. Okay, so this is what the landing page looks like when you log in through your VTK. When you begin to think like a citizen scientist journey, you'll need to sign up for an account with SciStarter. To access the citizen science projects curated for the journey by the GSUSA and SciStarter, you'll use a special link you found in your meeting overview. Troop accounts are private and safe, and they're linked to the volunteer accounts and the project selected for each journey, so everyone is participating at the same pace. The accounts make it possible for you, the volunteer, to guide your troops in their citizen science experience and track progress, such as when they have selected, joined, and participated in a project. Girl Scouts SciStarter accounts provide customized volunteer-guided experience throughout the journey and after the journey, unlock access to all the types of features and recommended projects girls can do with their families for years to come. As I mentioned previously, girls do hands-on activities in the first 2 meetings and learn how to make observations and collect and analyze data. As part of meetings 1 and 2, you'll also introduce the girls to citizen science projects found on the SciStarter dashboard. The scientists from each project have recorded a special video to Girl Scouts telling them about their project and how girls can help. Before the meetings, you'll want to review the videos and choose a few to show the girls at each meeting. In meeting 2, girls will choose which citizen science activity to complete in meeting 3. Once your troop chooses a project, select the project and add your troop details to generate your special citizen science URL. Share this with your troop to allow them to sign up and become part of your citizen science journey. In one click, you'll confirm the project and generate an automated email to invite your troop to sign up. Once you've invited your troop, you've started your journey. Here's what your troop will see when they click on your invitation to sign up for the journey. Girl Scouts SciStarter accounts unlock customized guided experiences. After signing up, girls with their parents' help and permission will have access to their own Girl Scouts SciStarter dashboards, already customized with the citizen science project they chose to complete as a troop. Now it's time to do the citizen science project. Review the project and instructions and find out what materials you will need on your SciStarter dashboard. Look over any additional materials so you'll be able to answer questions and guide girls during the activity. Depending on your girls' project, you may need a device to take pictures or upload data forms, or other materials. Once you've gone outside and collected your data, you'll log data online or using hard copies of the project's form. So you can see here's an example of the stream selfie, and you can see there's not much information that they have to add to do the data input. Log your girls and mark your attendance for meeting 3 on your SciStarter dashboard to unlock meetings 4 and 5. In meetings 4 and 5, girls plan and create their Take Action project. Following meeting 5, record your Take Action project on your SciStarter dashboard and complete your journey. Record your Take Action project by gathering feedback from your troop on 3 questions. What problem did the girls want to solve with your Take Action project? What was the girls' solution? And how did the girls make the project sustainable? After you complete your journey on SciStarter, you'll navigate back to the VTK for the final meeting in the journey, Think Like a Scientist Part 6. Once you've completed your first journey on SciStarter, you'll have access to all of SciStarter. All SciStarter users have dashboards to track their interests and participation in citizen science projects. Each time you and your troop contribute to the projects during and after your journey, actions are recorded in your dashboard. Encourage your troop and their families to use their dashboards for community service hours, for their next science fair project, or to find their next project to help scientists answer more questions. You'll also find recommended projects based on your location, interests, and experiences. Not only are you helping scientists when you use Starter, but you're helping plenty of researchers who study the field of citizen science as well. SciStarter is supported by the National Science Foundation and is a platform that makes it possible for researchers to learn more about project design, motivations, and learning outside of citizen science, and primarily through all of your dashboard analytics. Just a final note as we finish up this webinar session. It's important that we be a sister to every Girl Scout. And remember that everyone's a beginner at something and everyone's experts at something, so let's share what we know. Some people might be a little bit nervous doing a science-based journey, and other people might be really excited about it. We had one woman who was an engineer, and she said she's so excited about this new science curriculum, and another woman that was a little bit nervous. And the woman who was an engineer said, you know, you have to rely on us. We're able to help do some of these things. I have to tell you, I didn't know how to start a fire before I became a Girl Scout leader, and someone taught me how to do that. So we just have to remember that we have a lot of experts among us, and we can work together to really provide a rich experience for the girls. So thanks so much for listening to this module. If you have any questions or ideas, please feel free to send me an email. I look forward to hearing stories about how the girls act like citizen scientists in our community. Thank you so much and have a great day.